Go.
Hi, Michaela.
Alright. Alright. So today our first question is going to be, what do you think is the meaning of life?
I feel like that is, if you ask me my personal opinion, because I am a believer in Christ, so I think the meaning of life is to fulfill whatever God's purpose is for you, which is to win souls. That's it.
Okay. So how do you feel about the choices you made so far in life, and do you have any regrets?
I just asked my dad this question on Sunday. It's so funny. I feel really good about the choices I've made in life. I made some very interesting, disappointing, setting back choices. Like moving out early, living with a boy. Stupid. Not getting a car until I was in my 20s, not getting my license until I was like 18, 19. All avoidable situations. Those are like the minor things that I feel like I wasn't too happy about. But overall, like, especially just turning 30, I feel really just confident. The overall picture, I think, is sufficient. You said, how do I feel about the life choices I made, and then what else?
Do you have any regrets?
Regrets? No, I don't have any regrets so far. Because as I've aged, that's the beauty in aging that I never really thought about when I was younger. You do see stuff full-ish circle, even though I am 30, and that's like young, old. You do see, like, I'm glad I moved out early because that taught me self-worth. That taught me I need to have my own stuff first, Or I'm glad I didn't get my car because I get to tell other people, hey, you want to make sure you do your stuff in advance, or I didn't have to always walk or take the bus. Life was harder based on my decisions, and I get to, help people with that. So, yeah, it's no regrets.
If you could change anything about your life, what would it be?
If I could change anything. That's such a good question. I feel like it's like anytime you change something, the time-space continuum will be messed up for your unfold, what is it, canon event? So it's like I'm going to give you an answer, but also say nothing at the same time. My final answer would just be nothing, right? But my first answer, I would say my parents' divorce, because that, you don't know the, I guess, trauma that unfolds with it, and then as you age, and then having a single parent and all the stress they have, and yada yada yada. So that's why I said I would say nothing, because it taught me how to be very strong and very independent. But it also has, I think, a downfall, because you don't always have to be X, Y, and Z. There are days you can, but you're so used to constantly being on, so. But I would say that, because the statistics for having a two-parent home with raising children, is a lot higher as far as success, versus, they're already starting out with a deficit. So, but what's in my marriage?
Have you ever questioned your existence?
Oh my gosh, yes. I used to do that all the time. I used to do that when I was like, a lot younger, for sure, like 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm the youngest of 4. So I used to ask my siblings, do you ever realize, like, do you ever think, why are we here? What are we doing? And they used to get so annoyed because we're 2 years apart. So I'm 7, you have 9 and you have 11. They're just like, so I kind of stopped questioning it the older I got, because, like, in correlation to your first question, I kind of started to understand or witness, or, be able to support others in those facets. So I don't question it anymore. Right now, I feel like I have a decent hang on life. The only thing about life is understanding you're always going to have, I heard this in a sermon, and it has nothing, not anything to do with your questionnaire per se, but I heard in a sermon, you're always going to have a reason to call on God in life. So that's just kind of like, it lets you know you're never going to have, it's not going to be paradise, because this isn't heaven, it's earth. So I was like, that kind of solidified things to me, because I used to always be like, why do bad things happen, yada yada. But it kind of makes sense as I've aged. We're humans, and this is life, this is earth, so you're always going to have, it's never going to be smooth sailing. It's always going to be, the more I understood that, like, actually, the more I understood this is cool right now, but life is life. This is cool right now, but my cousin might pass. This is cool right now, but my job might go under XYZ, and then all the, So, yeah. I forgot what your question was, but I feel like my answer was sufficient.
Oh, no. Yeah, your answer was great. It was
Okay,
perfect.
great.
Hey, does the idea of death scare you?
Oh, I feel like Hamilton. Do you remember? Well, you didn't finish it. It's like, oh, awkward. Grabbing at you. But I actually, that's such a great question, because I love that part in Hamilton. Like they're always saying, why are you writing like you're running out of time? Because he was just so focused and he was so ambitious. And then at the end, he was just talking about death. Like he felt like he wasn't ready for death, but he felt like he was constantly in front of it, if that makes sense. So that's kind of how I feel. My dad is very, very realistic, very to the point. He has always been like that. So he's always been telling me, like, he's great, but he's always been telling me, hey, one day I'm not going to be here, so you need to know this. One day, blah, blah, blah. And even as I age, he's like, as I go into my later years, my final years of being 60, as I age, I'm getting to my final years. So he's always talking to me about death, so I can, like, understand it, know what's going to happen, yada, yada. Even your body doesn't understand when someone passes, like you physically and mentally. There are studies on it. Your mind cannot grapple with the fact that someone's not here. So it's a huge thing. But for me, and that's what that also goes back to the first question, like the meaning of life. That's why I think that has a lot to do with that. A lot to do with your question now, as far as death. Right now, I feel like I am ready for death, and because, like I said, I do believe in Christ and I serve Him, and right now, and I have that relationship with Him. I'm not just like, going to church and doing all this extra stuff. Like, it's just about the relationship. So I feel like my relationship right now is where it needs to be, and I'm walking where I need to walk. So that's why you asked me about how do I feel about life, how do I feel about death. If I were to die tomorrow, okay, I would feel bad for others, family and friends. But that's why you live every day, and you're kind every day, and you do what you can for others every day. So the last thing you did, and oh man, she was just doing X, Y, and Z. We were just having a good time. We were just, you want to have good moments and treat people kindly, because anything could happen. I've had friends my age pass away like this. I had friends pass away in high school, college. So I do feel very, not very ready, but I feel decently ready.
You're at peace with it.
I am at peace with it, actually. There are still other things I want to do, but just like I said, if it were to happen, I thought you had a rap. But I feel, I'm at peace with it. Thanks. That was a long answer.
If you were to die tomorrow, how would you live today differently?
Ooh. Good question. How would I live differently? I would not be working today. That's for sure. I would be doing everything. I would be at Busch Gardens, at the beach, talking to my family and friends. I would just be living, honey. I would be, in vacation mode, basically. And that's not even if I was dying tomorrow. That's if I could afford to not work. I would be doing that daily. But yeah, most importantly, I would definitely want to see my family again, because my family is, with my parents being divorced, we're not estranged, we're just all separated. All the siblings and parents, we all live in different states. So that's definitely one thing I would do. So that, eat some crab legs, go for a walk. That's pretty much it. It would be a regular day off. Yeah.
And what makes your life
Travel,
worth
sorry.
living?
Travel to another country. I just didn't think about that immediately because I need to get my passport. So for some reason I was confined. If I was infinite, okay, I know we're done, but infinite funds, infinite resources, I would travel to. Anyway, continue.
What makes your life worth living?
Worth living? Same old question. I get to be a blessing with others, experience life for others. I know, we've all done things we're not proud of, but I do know if I were to have a funeral, there would be witnesses of she did this for me. And it's not about narcissism. It's just, I'm saying for myself, it's worth living because I want to make sure, not just for a job thing, we're going above and beyond to help our team members and guests. No, that's not something I do just at work. That's something I do every day. That's something I would do for almost anybody. Heavy on almost, because it depends on the stranger. But that's what I say that's for me makes life worth living, because just doing something for almost anybody is not easy, and it takes a lot of selflessness. But that's one thing I have learned over the past years is to be very selfless and just be there for others and give for others, because you that person, you may not ever see them again, but they will always remember how you cared for them. And that honestly is what, it sounds so corny, but it does. It makes life worth living, because if we can't care for others, we're all just here doing what? In the way.
And then our last question, we're rolling back to that. What is your meaning of life? Not the general meaning of life, but as you express it, what is your meaning of life?
What is my meaning of life? What do you mean by that? What
Like,
is my meaning of life?
like I know
Because it's redundant, is that right? Redundant, basically?
so it's just like what makes you, like, I know we already asked the question at the beginning, but what makes you get up every day? What makes you feel like this is it? Like what is that purpose that you feel? What is your meaning of life?
Oh, okay. Definitely the first question for me. To fulfill God's purpose for me, to walk in His purpose for me, His will, serving others, loving others. And that's not just like a script or a little, lines I have in my head. It really is, because some days are a fight, my friend. Some days are a fight, and that's how I ground myself. I have to remember this is what I'm here for. It's something bigger than me, yada yada. But it's definitely, things are bigger than me and things are more than me. I got humbled today because I got a ticket, and I was freaking out about it. So I called my dad. He was like, he was great. Of course, I got yelled at 30, but afterwards he sent me a text. He was like, "It's just a ticket. We got people who are losing their houses right now, who are losing their homes. It's just a ticket." And I'm like, you know what? I heard. And I say I like to say, because sometimes I just, you make things so micro, just about you, just about yada yada. But on the macro, I'm here for a reason. Like your first question, I'm here for a reason. I'm supposed to be doing this. It's not just about me. Just because I don't like what I'm wearing today, just because, I didn't get to get whatever food I like, yada yada. So that grand scheme really keeps me going. And then just small other wins for me, moving forward. All the life things, maybe children, yada yada, all the other small things that come with life. But purpose-wise, Yeah, I'll say that's it.
All right, KK, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Oh.
Yes, I'm confident with that answer. I wanted to make sure there was nothing left. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. Yes, thank you, Megan.